Let's grumble. In this video, we're going to talk about the difference between marker words and cues, or what a lot of people refer to as command words. Now, we don't like using the word command because it's really an order. We like to think of it as an engagement where we have a relationship with our dog. We're asking them to do various things and letting them know that if they do those things, that they're going to get a reward. So I'm going to use the word cue instead of command, but that might be what you're familiar with. Now, basically, a marker word is almost like it's a tool that we use during learning. A marker is to indicate or mark when the puppy or the adult dog does the thing that you want them to do. Now, this could be, there are a lot of versions of it. Some people will use the word yes. One of our behavior consultant, Laura, likes to use the word good. Some people like to say nice. Some people say thanks. There's whatever word you want to use is fine. Just be consistent so you're always using the same word. I came to marker words a little bit late, so I have a tendency to use a whole bunch of them, but it'll be a little bit easier for your puppy if you just, or your adult dog, if you use one word only. Now, the benefit of using a marker word is you have it with you at all times. You don't have to go and get a clicker, which is another thing that you can use to mark different actions. Now, you can mark really whatever your puppy does with either a marker word or with a clicker. I'm going to show you first how to do it with a marker word, and then I'm going to show you how to do it with a clicker. Ollie. Good. So when Ollie got to me, I said the word good, good, to indicate that he did what I wanted. When his butt hit the ground, I said good to indicate that was what I wanted him to do. Now, a lot of us inadvertently use good boy as a marker word, and sometimes we do it the right time, but a lot of times the dog sits and like, oh, you're such a good boy, and it's after they've sat, and it's a lot of extra words. Frankly, the more words we use, the harder it is for the puppies to understand us. So I'd rather you just say good, nice, yes, or thanks, or use your clicker and no other words. Now, when you're gonna use a clicker, it's more distinct, so after a while your puppy goes into work mode when you do it, but you have to have it with you. Now, if you do get some electronics for Christmas or your birthday, and you get one of these little dingly dangly things, I like to attach the clicker to it because I can always get the clicker and get to click within 2 seconds. You need to click with a maximum of 2 seconds of the puppy doing it, but your goal should really be within 1/3 of a second. Now, what you're going to do to prime or load the clicker, I'm going to prime and load the marker word, and I'm going to use the word good, and then I'm going to show you how to do the same thing, the same principle with the clicker. All right, so all I'm going to do is say good and give him a treat. Good. Good. And when you do it, don't do what I just did. Say good, then give them the treat. Don't start reaching for them and then say good, because that can confuse them a little bit. So you want to do this about 10 to 12 treats, really about 3 to 5 times, and you'll probably never have to do it again. Now, a lot of us, again, when our puppy sits, we say good and we pet it. Good. That can be a reinforcement as well, and that's what most of us end up doing accidentally without even realizing we're doing it. Now, if you're going to do a clicker, you need to do the same sort of principle. So I'm going to click, then I'm going to give Ollie the treat. I'm going to, again, do this for about 10 to 12 treats. You can do it by wait for him to finish chewing. I can put it on the ground. You just want him to get the treat into his mouth within about 2 seconds. And if your puppy is distracted looking at something else, don't wait for them to redirect to you. Get that treat into their mouth. So you just do what I just did, reach over and give it to them if you have to. So I've already primed and loaded the clicker with Ollie because we've worked with him on several other videos, so he is good to go. If your puppy is fearful of the clicker, you would do something like this. So I muffled the sound by putting my body between it. You could also put it in your pocket. You also, for really fearful dogs, you might have somebody with a clicker on the other side of the room. And again, they click, and then you give the puppy a treat. Gradually, you want to get to the point where you can be like, and you don't have a response like Ollie did. But don't put it right in front of their nose right away and start clicking. That's a common mistake, and you'll cause the puppy to not like the clicker and to have a negative association. That's the opposite of what we're looking to do. Last thing is a clicker is to indicate when the puppy did what we wanted. It is not a remote control, so don't ever go. That will cause your puppy to respond that one time, but eventually you're going to have a puppy that doesn't respond to the clicker. So avoid doing that. Now, it's important when you are priming and loading the clicker that you do this in different areas. Dogs don't generalize. So do it in your living room, take a couple steps away, click again, maybe just wander around your house. So you're walking upstairs, downstairs, in different places. It doesn't have to be in every room in your house. You just don't want to sit in one place and do it all. Now, when you are clicking, if you accidentally click at the wrong time, still give your puppy that treat, because we want the treat to understand that is, the clicker means a treat is coming. Just make sure that you don't do that a bunch of times, or you will train your puppy to do the wrong thing. So I would also make sure that you don't have, you're not priming the clicker in a very distracted environment. You don't want to have a lot of things moving around, people eating, anything that's distracting the puppy. We want them to really, like this room is pretty quiet, and it's very easy for him to identify that. Now a cue, what a lot of people call a command word, is actually an indicator of what you want the puppy to do. It is a cue. I want you to sit. And that's the order. You want to say the command word, you want the puppy to do the action, or the adult dog, and then you want to reward or reinforce the behavior. And so that's the order that you always want to do it in. Sometimes we will shape things. If a dog doesn't know how to do something, we might have it do part of the treat or part of the activity and then click for that part. So one of the videos that you're going to see is us teaching a puppy to do a play bow. So the first thing I want the dog to do is I want to tuck its neck into its chest. So basically I'm going to kind of hold the treat here, and I'm going to, well actually I'll show you with a little ollie. Here buddy. Now he took a step back, which is not what I want, so let's see if we can do that again. All I want to do is just tuck his head back just a little bit. So all it is he tucks his head back a little bit and I click, and after a while the puppy knows, oh, that was the action that you wanted. And then I can ask him to push it back a little bit further, and eventually he's got it, it looks like a turtle. And so then you can go to the next stage, whatever it is. So when you, there's nothing wrong when you're training, especially when you're training a dog to do difficult commands. I'm going to go ahead and reward that. But if you're training a dog to do difficult commands, it's better and more productive if you shape small steps along the process and reward the puppy along the way. Otherwise, they get frustrated, you get frustrated, and you're not going to have as good a progress. Now, when it comes to cues, I also want you to make sure that you are being consistent. A lot of us talk to our dogs as if they speak English. If you've ever tried to learn a foreign language, it's hard when you have a little bit of vocabulary and you have a good pronunciation, you talk to someone in the language and they fire a whole bunch of words back to you. Also, sometimes words there are multiple ways of saying the same thing. A classic example of this is asking your dog to come to you. You could say come, you could say here, you could say come here, you could combine it and say come here, over here boy, dog's name, whistle, tap my thigh, and do something else. That's about 10 different ways of asking the dog to do the same exact command. And so if the dog has to remember 10 words for every action, that if they know 10 commands, that's 100 words of their vocabulary that they have to absorb. And that makes it a lot more difficult. So one of the things we suggest you do is come up with a list of the cues, and then every time that you somebody in the house says, come here, you're like, vocabulary. Oh, I used the wrong word. And then so you just help, it just really helps everybody get on the same page. It'll accelerate your puppy's learning. Once your puppy actually knows how to come consistently for the word come or here, whatever your word is, then you can start adding in the variants of it, because people are going to talk to their dogs, but it's just easier if you can do those one at a time. Ollie, come. This is my buddy Ollie, and this is how the difference between marker words, how to prime and load a clicker or marker words, and the difference between them and cues or command words.
Quest, you are a goofball.